Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, or Happy Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or whatever the hell you celebrate today. We're doing a movie review. This is my friend Jeremy, who's been in a few of my videos before. Recently he was in my review on Stephen King's novel It. But the movie we want to review is the 1980 Christmas-themed horror film Christmas Evil, which was written and directed by Lewis Jackson, who... This was one of his only movies. I think he did 2 other movies, right?
Yeah, they're obscure films from the 70s.
And the film was originally made under the title You Better Watch Out, and I know some video releases of this film had it under the title Terror in Toyland. Now, I actually already reviewed this movie a couple of years ago, actually for Christmas of 2014. I just wanted to redo the video because this is actually one of my favorite Christmas movies, so I really wanted to explore the movie again in a video. And when I brought this up to you, you said you were interested in checking it out and reviewing it with me.
Absolutely.
And turns out we have very different opinions on the movie.
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I thought it was enjoyable. I just, I don't think it's a sort of, it's not on my, top 5 list of Christmas movies or Christmas horror movies, In my opinion, it's just not up there with movies like, Black Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night in terms of Christmas horror. But, I mean, it's alright on its own, I would say.
Fair enough. I mean, I certainly don't like it as much as Gremlins, which is like one of my top 5 favorite films of all time, but this is one that, I'll admit, it kind of had to grow on me over the years, because I first saw this when I was like, I want to say 12 or 13. The film's in the public domain, so you could find it on a lot of these like public domain box sets, and I actually have the movie on this box set called Chilling Classics, which has like 50 different public domain movies on it. I got this for Christmas back in, I want to say, 2005, and that's how I first saw this movie, and when I first saw it, I was like, this is kind of weird. I didn't really get it. But again, it's a film that really kind of grew on me over time to a point where I actually think it's a very psychological film. It really is a movie about this man going crazy. Like, there's an internet movie critic I follow named Brad Jones, and he called this movie, you would probably completely disagree with this, I'm not even sure if I agree with it, but he called it the Taxi Driver of Christmas movies. I like that the film does try to be not just a horror film, but also very much a psychological drama, but there is some satire in the film, and there is some definite dark humor in the film as well. Now, what the plot of Christmas Evil is, it's about a man named Harry who, when he was a kid, discovered the truth about Santa Claus in a very bizarre way. Like when he saw that the man he thought was Santa Claus was actually his father, dressed as Santa, and then he saw him,
blowing his mother.
Yeah, pretty much. That adds new meaning to the song I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, doesn't it? He finds out the truth about Santa Claus at a very young age, and this really does emotionally scar him to a point where, as an adult, he's completely obsessed with the concept of Santa, to a point where, throughout the film, he starts to try to literally become Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But, of course, this does lead to some really bad things, where he starts going after people he works with who don't treat him very well at his job, and yeah, it's, essentially, as I said, the movie's really about this man slowly going insane and slowly starting to believe that he literally is Santa Claus.
Yeah, I mean, I like how the movie starts off innocently enough with some kids watching, Santa come into their home, and, it almost feels like you're going to be watching this upbeat holiday film, and it's going to be heartwarming, and then it just takes a turn,
Yeah.
It turns on you in such a creepy, what's the word? Vulgar way.
Yeah.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
Now, the director on the audio commentary that's on the Blu-ray that Vinegar Syndrome put out, he said that a lot of that opening sequence was meant to be in the main character's head.
Oh, really?
Like, some of it was real, but some of it was, like, in his head, like, you know, the part where, like, you literally see Santa coming out of the fireplace. Like, that was probably in his head. Like, a lot of that was meant to be just how he's remembering it as an adult reflecting back. And a lot of the movie is supposed to be in Harry's head, especially the ending, which we'll talk about. One thing the director said was he kind of wanted to show that Harry is nostalgic for a past that never really existed. Like, he's nostalgic for a Christmas that never really existed. Yeah. Now, in the film, Brendan Maggart plays the character of Harry, or Santa Claus. Now, we very much disagree on his performance. I personally think it's a very creepy and very psychological performance. We see this man slowly going crazier and crazier, but you don't really have the same opinions as I do.
I mean, I will say that his performance is creepy, and he's good in a lot of scenes. I just thought in other scenes, sometimes his line delivery left a little something to be desired. It's not a terrible performance by any means, but, I mean, like I said about the film itself, I just wouldn't rank it up there with, you know, my top favorite horror performances.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't know, I just thought, like, that scene where he's, like, he puts on the beard and, like, he glued it to his face, so he's pulling on it as if it's real. Like, that, to me, that really is creepy, and it just shows how far gone he is at that point.
Yeah, I would say that was creepy.
It's me. It's me.
Oh, talk about creepy. I mean, this guy, as we've mentioned, has a very unhealthy obsession with Santa Claus to the point where he's using binoculars to spy on kids through their windows. That is creepy.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that that's even creepier than the beard scene.
Oh, that is very creepy. I mean, what this movie really does is, to me, it takes the mythology of Santa Claus, but applies it to a real person, and points out just how kind of creepy and messed up the very concept of Santa Claus is, if you really stop to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he sees you when you're sleeping. Are you freaking kidding me?
And he knows when you're awake.
I don't want this man to know when my kids are asleep or when they're awake.
Neither do I.
Come on, where are my little darlings? Scotty Goodrich. Good boy, Scotty. Susie Lovett. Such a sweet baby. Ross Garcia.
At the same time, though, while he is creepy in the film, I do think he is kind of sympathetic to an extent.
Sure.
Like, this is a guy who needs serious psychological help, and he doesn't really get the help he needs, and that you see the consequences of him not really getting the help he needs. And then you have Jeffrey DeMunn as his brother Philip. Jeffrey DeMunn is one of my favorite actors. He's been in stuff like The Walking Dead, Storm of the Century, Green Mile,
Hollywoodland.
Yeah, the remake of The Blob, The Hitcher. Yeah, he's a great actor. I actually met him a few years ago.
Yep.
But he's really good in this movie, I would say.
Great.
Honestly, I would say, Brendan Maggart's great in the movie, but he might be the best performance in the movie, I think. Like,
I could see that.
In the movie, his character, there's hints that he hasn't treated his brother very well in the past, but, there is a scene where, when he doesn't know where Harry is and he's trying to call him on the phone and he's crying, and you can tell he genuinely does care about Harry. But I think you're also supposed to get the implication that he does kind of know what Harry's up to at that point.
Are you still there? Where are you?
You always worry about me, don't you, Phil?
I waited all day to hear from you. I'm sick to my stomach.
But, Phil, you should be proud of me.
Why?
I did what you've always wanted me to do. I finally found the right notes. I can play the tune now.
What tune?
The tune everybody dances to. Even you, Phil. It's my version. But it works.
Harry, I'm sorry. You don't want to tell me where you are, don't tell me. But when you do come over here, we're going to have this out once and for all.
You see, the difference between us was I always remembered everything.
What don't I remember? Just tell me what... No, you're not going to make me feel guilty no more.
No, Phil. I read a poem once that said, every day you shave, you see yourself one day closer to dying.
What are you saying?
I'm going to play my tune now. Everybody will dance, you'll see. You don't have to worry anymore.
What goddamn tune, Harry? Harry? Talk to me. Please?
Yeah, I thought Jeffrey DeMunn's performance was great in this movie.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
There is a very brief appearance from actor Margolis, I think that's how he says his name. He would go on to play Hector in Breaking Bad, and he's been in most of Darren Aronofsky's movies. He has a very, very small part in this movie in a scene at a party hall, and it's almost a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. Like, when I was rewatching the movie again, I was like, wait a minute, holy shit, that's Hector from Breaking Bad. But besides, the two main actors and then him, what other actors or characters stood out to you in this movie, if any?
Well, there were his dickhead co-workers at the factory. I thought they were mildly entertaining. They really do make fun of him. They do not treat him well at all.
Yeah. There's a scene in this movie where, one of his coworkers is like, oh, Harry, can you fill in for me tonight? I have stuff to do. And then Harry goes out and finds out that he was just out at a bar. He didn't have anything to do that night. That just shows you how dickheadish these people are to him.
I agree.
Last Friday, cashed his last paycheck, and my ain't seen it.
4 days. She and me are leaving in the morning. I get that schmuck Harry working for me tonight.
You know what else is great in this movie? The music. In the opening scene where the kid sees, his mother getting blown by Santa, when he's running up the stairs, the music in that scene and that part is just terrific. It's so fitting and so perfect. Yeah, there's also a scene where he shows off his creepy puppets, and I'm just like, good lord, what is with those creepy puppets?
Real quick, I want to cut to our friend John. He did a little short review on this, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about the movie.
Yeah, so Christmas Evil, it was alright. I mean, not one of my favorite, Christmas horror films. I still think Black Christmas is, one of the best horror Christmas movies. I liked Brendan Maggart as Harry because you really feel like he's convincing when he goes from being a happy, jolly Santa Claus to a killer, crazy Santa Claus when he goes around killing the people he dislikes because of the way people treat him, because people at his job treat him like shit, and you really feel bad for the way he's treated. I'd say it's like a psychological horror where it's like, was this all in his head, or was this his imagination, or was it really happening? That's what's so, that's one thing that's so good about it, is it's one of those things, there's no specific answer to that. And the ending was, at first I didn't really like it, but now I can see what it means though. I'm not going to give that away though.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our friend John's short review on this, and I do want to talk about the ending of the movie, because that's one of the things where when I first saw the movie I was like, what the fuck? It's an ending, as with the whole movie, has kind of grown on me over the years, and I get where the ending's coming from, honestly, but this is a spoiler. The movie ends where Harry, he's being chased by all these angry people, almost Frankenstein monster style, which the director said a lot of that's kind of in his head at that point, but he drives off a bridge, and then his brother looks up, and it appears that his van has become basically Santa's sled. The movie ends where he literally becomes Santa Claus.
Heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Now, I've always interpreted it as that's all in his head, but on one level you can interpret it as maybe there is something supernatural going on, maybe he did become Santa. It's an ending that I think is very much left open to the viewer's interpretation, but what do you think of that ending?
Well, I think at the end this movie might have been on drugs, but in all seriousness though, it's an interesting way to end it. As you said, it's like he's becoming Santa Claus, but I think it's most likely all in his delusional head. It has to be.
And then even the angry parents chasing after him with torches, it's that's probably in his head. Maybe it's actually happening, but that was a part of the movie where I was like, oh, that's a little cheesy. It's a little too much of an homage to Universal monsters. But then the director talked about on the audio commentary, no, that's most likely in Harry's head. And then you wanted to bring up the scene where Harry punches his brother.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that scene because when you see him punch his brother, oh my god, that looks so cheesy and fake, and just so cartoony as well. It's actually hilarious to watch that part. So another scene I just want to mention is the scene where he basically kills the guy who lied to him about wanting to spend Christmas with his family. He slits his throat, and I just thought that scene was pretty well done. The wife's reaction is just priceless, and I shouldn't say that he got what he deserved, because he really didn't deserve to die, but he definitely deserved to be punched in the face.
I do want to point out that this is a Killer Santa movie, which came out 4 years before Silent Night, Deadly Night, which was a very controversial film. I just think it's hilarious that those bored soccer moms made such a big deal over Silent Night, Deadly Night, yet they didn't say shit about this movie.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think there was even another Killer Santa movie that came out this same year. I'm not sure what the name of it was, but, and even before this, there was, the Amicus Tales from the Crypt movie that had
that's right.
the Killer Santa sequence.
That's
so,
right.
I mean, there's been Killer Santa stuff before Silent Night, Deadly Night. Why'd they all of a sudden decide to pick on that movie?
I know, it's absolutely ridiculous. That whole controversy around Silent Night, Deadly Night was absolutely absurd and ridiculous. I mean, if you don't want your kids to see it, then don't let them watch it. Don't blame the movie itself, just don't fucking watch it.
I know you disagree with me, but, I personally think this is a better film than Silent Night, Deadly Night, but that's just me personally.
I mean, at some point I might give it a rewatch, but, you know, I think Silent Night, Deadly Night is definitely the more well-known of the two.
Yeah.
And I think it also has this, Silent Night, Deadly Night also has this sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, camp factor that it has that going for it, which I think kind of ups the entertainment value a bit.
Fair enough. I mean, you could say there's some camp elements in this, but again, I think the director did kind of intend that, because he did intend some of this movie to be satirical.
Yeah.
But it's satire mixed with, I think, really good psychological drama and good horror. Now, this is actually one of John Waters' favorite movies, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, John Waters is a very interesting character. I mean, he's the king of trash. I've had the pleasure of meeting him twice, and each time he was always just so entertaining to meet. I mean, during that Barnes & Noble book signing I met him at, someone actually asked him, what kind of porn do you like to watch? I don't remember his response, but I do remember that he had absolutely no problem answering it. He was happy to answer it.
If you are a fan of this movie, I do recommend getting the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. It has 2 audio commentaries from the director and a commentary from John Waters. So that was our review on Christmas Evil. Once again, Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or whatever holiday you choose to celebrate. Bye.